Where are we? What direction are we in? Are we headed towards? If I told you that one of these two Democrat candidates for Senate has called police gangsters and thugs, would you believe it? Of the two of them, which one do you think it would be? Raphael Warnock or John Ossoff? You'd probably think Ossoff, surely a guy with Reverend in front of his name, wouldn't call police gangsters and thugs. But actually, you would be incorrect. It's the Reverend who has called police officers in America gangsters and thugs. Now, we got a lot of drama and emotion and raw intensity over what it means to be a police officer in 2020. The George Floyd death hurt. It hurt the country. It tore the country apart. People took to the streets. People rioted and looted while the media gave rioters and looters cover by calling those peaceful protests. But many, many, many more people did peacefully protest the death of a man who we witnessed in a 9-minute video under the knee of a police officer. But of course, the left's version of policing is to reimagine it all. We can have social workers. I truly believe that Georgia is a state that will be intently focused on law and order. So when you know that if the Democrats control the entire government, we will be facing a sea change of the way law enforcement is regarded in America. It is widely believed that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to run the Biden White House, already runs the House, and could very well influence the Senate. She was on a virtual town hall meeting yesterday, and this brash, bold, prominent, powerful young Democrat had the following to say about what she believes the path of justice in America actually looks like.
What I think it means to me is that I believe that the path towards justice is a long arc and that it happens in steps. And I believe that this call, for me personally, is a step to build a world where we are safe in more than one way. And that safety is not just an officer with a badge and a gun, but that safety is also a mental health worker that shows up when you're in crisis. Safety is making sure that you are not evicted from your apartment in the middle of a pandemic.
Now, regardless what you think of of politics, regardless of where you are, if you're in the right, you're on the left, you're in the middle, you're center right, center left, far right, doesn't really matter. You do have to try to wrap your brain around taking funds away from police departments and officers and recognizing that crime in cities that want to defund the police is rising. Just ask Minneapolis. Ask Minnesotans. And go back to Georgia. Goes back to Georgia for just a moment. So as you hear Democrats sort of ramping up anti-police rhetoric, and we've heard it all year long. Pastor Raphael Warnock said the following about police officers and law enforcement.
So in Ferguson, police power showing up in a kind of gangster and thug mentality. You can wear all kinds of colors and be a thug. You can sometimes wear the colors of the state and behave like a thug.
Now, Warnock and his supporters are sort of defensively suggesting that there's going to be a lot of attack ads and a lot of attacks on him and on John Ossoff. I'm not real sure it's an attack to play a Senate candidate's own words. Those are the words of Raphael Warnock. You hear the anger, you hear the derision, you hear the way he has described police in Ferguson. He made similar comments apparently in November of 2015, called police officers bullies. He said, when you think about the fact that America still warehouses 25% of the world's prisoners, we shouldn't be surprised when we see police officers act like bullies on the street. Now, that's the kind of rhetoric you won't hear from Kelly Loeffler or David Perdue. Georgians are going to make a decision, and they're going to decide whether to make a U.S. senator out of somebody who calls police gangsters and thugs. You're going to have a decision to make, Georgia, and we're there to help you, and we're going to be lifting Georgia up. We're going to be scrutinizing, and we need to scrutinize the free and fair election that should take place, this runoff. We have to be very wary of establishment types who sit around in their country clubs and say, oh, it's okay, let's not rock the boat. Everybody just mail in your ballot. I don't care who you are. We got to be very, very sensitive to people who don't want to show up in person to vote. I reject that. And maybe you don't. Maybe you think that's the way to go. It seems to me that if we didn't learn anything from 2020, I hope we would learn how dubious and how muddy and shady the general election was, considering the tens of millions of ballots cast by mail. You know, I've got this funny feeling in the pit of my stomach that many Americans are sort of saying these days, well, this mail-in ballot thing seemed like a good idea at the time. Not so sure it is now. Are you? Are you confident in the integrity of the 2020 election? Are you concerned about what might happen in Georgia as well?